Good evening and welcome to another Darwin Innovation Hub webinar, this time about doing your own webinars and workshops. And sorry, I've got like this camera thing that's trying to pretend that it's focusing in on me, but over here, brand new computer doing all sorts of weird things. So let me wipe that lens, get it nice and clear, and hopefully it picks up that I'm the real person and she's a photo. Great photo, but she's a photo all the same. I'm going to share my screen, get us underway as we learn about, I guess, the basics of getting yourself ready and willing to do your own workshops and webinars. And I'll show you some of the tools that I use as well. This is not going to be a death by PowerPoint by any shape, any stretch of the imagination. It's more really just a way of looking at how you can build the confidence to do this, but also then how the tools can work in your favor as well. So let's share the screen and get underway. We're off and racing. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we want to do is figure out what we're going to learn tonight. So it's going to be about starting without approval and how to work that into your head. It's something I did back in 2018, 2017, actually, when I first started doing it. You're doing it out of McDonald's playrooms on the Gold Coast, of all places, McDonald's playrooms, party rooms, and they were actually rentable and hireable and still are. And that was how I did it for free. Look at discovering your perfect audience, working out who you're doing this for and how, a bit of a plan for the framework of how you're going to do this, and looking at some of the tech tools you'll use to do it as well. And then how we market this thing in a very, very simple way. I'm not going to go deeply into the power of Facebook ads and all that. It's just going to be about some of the areas you might consider doing your marketing through. But what I want to get you to understand first is that you do not need anyone's permission to become a workshop host or a webinar host. You literally can just do it. You need no permission. Now, unless you're giving financial advice, legal advice, which you should be not doing that anyway over a webinar or workshop, then you should be fine, or medical advice for that matter. Now, most of you are not going to be doing that. You're going to be giving some kind of advice from your own experience. So what you might just need to do is just basically go, well, this should not be regarded as financial advice. Therefore, see a financial advisor for any rules around this. But in your case, you're going to be giving info of a general nature, and that they should always check with a professional before they apply any of those rules. Now, as far as I'm concerned, for what I do, there is no legislation around that. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not giving health and well-being advice at all. What I'm doing is pretty much setting my own rules, because I work in an area primarily around marketing, digital transformation, and startup ventures, that really there's not a lot of rules around what you can and can't say, which allows me to then go, well, I can start off one way and pivot wherever I like. And this is where I think the power of a workshop is. We think we're going to be planned for everything to go perfectly, but as so few of my workshops ever go according to the plan that I want, because the participants want to take it in a certain direction, usually in a way that helps give them value to their specific environment or their specific needs. And sometimes what you go in there with your plans and your wisdom and all your knowledge thinking that they want isn't what they wanted, but it was adjacent to that. So I work very much with who's there in the room, which means, again, you don't need permission to do this because you're not going in with a prescriptive method. And you own 100% of the results of this. You don't have to be handing it off to a university or to a vet course or anything like that. It's all about, you stepping into this. Now, what I did back in 2017 was I kind of got this idea. Barely anybody where I was doing any kind of workshops on digital marketing. They were selling digital marketing as services, but nobody was showing people how it worked. And webinars and YouTube videos back in 2017, while they were happening, they weren't massive in the way they are now. And it wasn't really that default place where people went. The online course thing was still very much in its infancy, and a lot of people were selling them. And all those online gurus we have today, there were very few of them. In fact, there was this one woman who was doing what was called Facebook ad secrets. And she was selling, one of the very, very early people who was like, well, yeah, how will you help me? How do I pay for you to help me do this? And she's like, no, I'm not helping anyone, man. Just hop on my course and just do my course. And we're like, what is this? I don't want to pay for a course. I need help. And it was very confusing to people to actually go through that kind of funnel. So we didn't really have a lot of it back then. Now, of course, we do. So we've got lots of gurus, lots of fake gurus, lots of online experts in everything you can possibly think of, and we're putting all of our stuff out there. So why wouldn't you? Nobody is sitting there waiting for you to mess up or fail or say the wrong thing. And if they are, that's fine. What are they going to do? You're not going to go to jail. You're not going to die. You're going to be fine. You just simply own the mistake and say, you know what? That was a mistake I made. Sorry about that. And you move on. So that means we now have to move to finding our niche in our audience. And this is where we go, what is the specific problem you want to solve for people? We should go back then and really look at what is the problem that people have to be solved, not just what do you want to solve, but what is the problem that people who you want to work with have to be solved. And we often will go in there with, I want to do this webinar and this thing because I want to sell this particular service and do it this particular way, when what we're really looking for is, what do they need? What do they want? Now, every one of you on this call, I would think, has enough expertise and experience with the people you work with to kind of understand what it is they're looking for, or it's something you had before. A great insight came to me the other day. In fact, it was just yesterday, where I was watching a YouTube video. I can't remember who it was from, but a guy who was basically saying that if you've solved this for yourself, then that's what you should be teaching. So look for the thing you've solved, then teach that. And I had this come up because I was having a moment yesterday. I was like, oh, what do I do with my workshops for July? I haven't worked them all out yet. What should I do? And then I just looked at what problems did I solve for myself in the past month? And one of them was I needed an interactive little tool that I could enter in customer personas with as I'm working with people, and they're working out who their customer personas are. And I needed a little interactive personal brand building tool that sort of tracks on the way of how I'm building my personal brand. So I went, well, I'll work out how to build those myself. And I did it. And today I even built like a mini CRM, a customer relationship management system today in 1.5 hours using AI tools to help me code it up. And it's great and it works and it's surprisingly robust. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is what I need to teach next month. So that's where most of your niche and your audience and your content's going to come from, is what have you solved recently? Whether that's solving it for others or solving it for yourself, how can you then package that up without, giving away people's private information, or by using case studies that have real people's situations involved? How can you bring that to people in the format of slides like you're seeing here, and then presenting that as a webinar or as a workshop? Part of what you need to do as well is to build an idea of who it is you're going for. So before you start solving problems, who are you solving them for? What's their job title? What's their age? What's their demographics? What's their level of knowledge in the area that you want to advise them in? And how do you want them to be transformed at the end? Now, transformation, that's a word which often comes up in coaching. I like to use it as just simply a moving from what they were to what they want to be. So that could be as simple as they don't know anything about ironing a shirt. You teach them how to iron a shirt, they are now transformed into a person who can iron a shirt. Or something even more sorcery like folding fitted sheets, right? You know how to fold fitted sheets, and you want to take your client or the person who's going to watch your webinar on folding fitted sheets from someone who can't fold a fitted sheet to transform into the kind of person who can fold a fitted sheet. Now, they're very sort of out there examples, but you get the idea of what that transformation is. And then you do a quick exercise, and I do this for every single one of these. I go, what are the 3 pain points my audience faces? The 3 pain points I did when I put this particular workshop together for tonight, a very quick, short one, was that people, first of all, think that they don't deserve or have any right to be doing workshops and webinars. Secondly, the pain point is they don't know quite where to start with putting together content for it. And thirdly, they don't know what the technology is. So I thought, well, if I can sort of give a few tips in 1, 2, and 3, then I'll be helping transform someone from someone who doesn't do workshops and webinars to someone who does do workshops and webinars. So that's an actual exercise I do myself every time before I form an idea on my calendar to say, I'm going to do this particular set of workshops and webinars. Next, we plan your content out and you start with a promise. Now, you'll notice back a few slides, I said, here's what you'll learn. This is what you're going to walk away with. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're starting with the promise, what you'll walk away knowing. And that's part of what goes into my Eventbrite blurbs is here's what you're going to learn, right? Then we create these bite-sized modules of no more than 3 to 5 points. And really, I try to stick to three because it's a lot of information to take in a short period of time. So you want to make sure that you make it as simple as possible. Do not flood your slides with tons and tons of words. For me, this is as much as I'd want to have on a slide. No more than this. This is any more than that's too much. And then what we do is weave in some stories. I weaved in a personal story when we looked at this, Sarah. I said doing the quick exercise. I told you my personal story of how I did that quick exercise for this very webinar we're doing now. And I also weaved in the personal story about how I started off doing this at McDonald's playrooms, right? That's how you weave in a personal story. If you don't have a personal story, then it makes it very hard for someone to understand why the heck you would be doing this webinar. Are you just doing it because you're paid to do it? Are you just doing it because it makes money? No, you're doing it because you have a personal relationship with this topic area, not just an intellectual or academic relationship with it, with a real personal relationship with it. And then you follow a simple template of here's your intro, here's the modules you want to teach, here's a wrap up at the end. And this is what I'm doing tonight, especially for short little webinars like this one, where we have a very short intro, a very short set of modules, and a short wrap up because we've only got 30 minutes to get it all done. 18 minutes to go. Tech stack. Okay, what are we using to do these things? So your platforms can be things like Zoom, YouTube Live, Crowdcast, Restream, Teams. You can do Teams calls. Look, I would just, if you're just getting started on this, go with the stuff you can do for free. You can have an hour-long call, I think, on Zoom. You can have as long as you want on a Teams call. So use Teams, use Zoom, use the things you already have access to. Don't go and buy new stuff. If you want to live stream into platforms, Facebook Live already does it. YouTube Live already does it. If you want to go into LinkedIn as a live video, as I often do, you can use other things like Restream, Stream, or something like StreamYard is also a really easy to use system that helps you do that. I'm not going to show you what you know what? I can show you what Restream looks like, right? So I'm going to pop into Restream. I haven't been in there for a while. Let's see. Restream. So I use this because it allows me to live stream into multiple places at once. So I'll just log in using my account, which is over here somewhere. We're going to go in with this one. That's the one I use. Restream allows me to live stream into multiple places at once. So I can use it on Zoom, but also that Zoom can then be plugged into places like LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those different places. So you can see I've done a few of these in the past where I've set them up. So what I would normally be doing is going, let's say if I want to set up a new stream, I'll just move my picture out of the way, go new stream. And I go, okay, am I streaming directly from my browser? Most of the time, that's what I'd be doing. Am I recording it so that then I'm scheduling it to be played out? It's a recording I'm playing out, not like tonight, which is literally live. You can hear the gurgling of the dishwasher in the background probably. Or if you're doing it through an encoder, you're doing it through Zoom. That's another way. So I can just hook it up with Zoom. So Zoom then will transmit it out. Usually what I do is Restream Studio. So it sets a stage and then I decide where are the places I'm going to go to. So in this case, I might go, I'm going to send it out to LinkedIn. I'm going to send it out to YouTube. I'm going to send it out to maybe to Facebook or something like that. So let me just quickly connect to my cameras and all those things. So you can see me waving in there at myself. And then I can turn on and off those things, enter the studio. And I'm not going to go live with this and do a legit live stream right now, but I'll just get it set up for you. So it's a window that you can see there. You've got different views where you can have, views of yourself, what you're sharing on a screen in a certain way. You can be in a small part in the middle. It does all this kind of like different screen layout. So a demo might be, we add in some slides, we share screen. So I can share my screen in here and share with, I don't know, which one will I share? Will I share my little CRM that I'm creating? So a little problem I was trying to solve. So what that's now doing, it will be going to share this inside that screen. So you should be able to see that now. So it's sharing inside my screen. This is, I'm not a real person. This is not a real business. It's just a dummy thing I did in a little, CRM that I decided to build. And I can then remove that and say, well, I'm no longer streaming that live. And then I can schedule it to go at a certain time and select the channels that I want to go live on. So this one will be connected to, I believe I've got it connected to Darwin Innovation Hub's LinkedIn. I've got Facebook there, which I can, reset as well, live stream it out to my LinkedIn so I can reconnect that and get it going. So it just connects through, logging in through those channels, my my Facebook and my YouTube as well. So there's lots of different channels I can do where it's all set up, and then it goes out as a live stream to those channels. So that's how people do live streams. There's so many things all at once. They can do it through tools like Restream. This is not the hardest one to use. StreamYard's even more simple. I'll get out of there because we don't need to see that anymore. StreamYard's probably the one that's the simplest to use, the one that really I find most people are doing. And they have a really good free version you can use that allows you to just do, a couple of different channels that you can stream live to. Just bear in mind, if you want to stream to LinkedIn, you need to have a creator profile. That's one of the options that comes up when you go to edit your profile. So have a look for that. That gives you the option to then do live streams. Some of the audio essentials you need. I've got a microphone here. I'll just stop my sharing and share it with you. So this one's a little JBL. It was about $200. I think I got it from JB Hi-Fi at the time. Look, it's actually, I think I bought it from Amazon online because JB had run out. They usually sell them at Officeworks. Oh, Officeworks. That's where I got it. Officeworks. That was about $220. Now, this is a good microphone. It doesn't do a lot of like the terrible, echo that you tend to get in a lot of these places. But that's also because I'm in a quiet office and everyone else has gone home. I'm on my own. So that tends to make it that little bit more quiet. So that one, JBL, it's like a studio something or other. You just look it up. You'll see it if you look at a JBL microphone. There's lots of, I got a Shure microphone, which is like a $400 microphone at home in my home studio. But I'd use that because I make money out of these things, right? Not today. I'm not making money out of it, but I do make money out of these things at various times. So I want to be as professional as I possibly can in the sound. People will forgive really bad video quality, but they will never forgive you for terrible audio quality. So you want to make sure your audio quality is as good as you can make it. So that's part of the audio essentials, a USB mic that plugs into your laptop or into your phone. I do everything from a laptop because I feel like I've got better control over things. Plus I can plug everything up into a bigger screen that's just above, here, but not really above me. It's on the sky, but it's like I got a big screen up here and I got a little screen down here. Little screen is where I see you, and the big screen is where I'm seeing my slides. That's why I'll be looking up and looking down, looking up and looking down. So we'll get that screen shared again, and we'll get back onto our slides because I don't want to run over on this one. I want to get you all home and into dinner in time. Your visual setup can be a webcam. I'm just using a webcam. I've got a MacBook Pro, so it's got a pretty damn good one, but you can always chuck your smartphone on a tripod like in the picture there. And then that will just give you, actually smartphones got better cameras than laptops mostly. My Mac Pro, this one is a particularly good webcam. You can get external webcams. I've got a separate one called Lumina, Lumina, which is like an AI powered quality controlled webcam. I use that sometimes when I'm on the road and I've got lighting that isn't as great as what it is in here. Then your slide design is minimal text, high contrast, one idea per slide. So unfortunately, my one idea for slide in here is the tech stack and logistics, but I've got multiple points. It's only got the 4 points, but as you see, very little text. I try to put as little text as possible on those slides. Marketing wise, that's where you start to look at things like where have you got a following? If you've got some kind of following, that is very helpful. So if you've built up a following on Instagram or Facebook, that's great because they're people who you can broadcast to. Often when people are following you closely or they're following your page, or particularly if they're following you as a profile on Facebook and Instagram, you have the ability to get notifications through to them when you do schedule these things and when you go live, particularly when you go live on Facebook. A certain subset of your most engaged followers who are most likely to be the people who would react to a live video will be notified there and then that you've gone live. Same with LinkedIn, particularly with you set it up as a LinkedIn event. So if you set up an event on LinkedIn, so if you've never seen where you do that before, I'll take you for a little walk inside my LinkedIn profile. And in here, I can then go to write something. So that's my notifications. What I can do instead of starting a post here, I can just click in there and schedule an event. So in here, I'm creating an event, upload my cover image. I can say online, in person. I'm going to do online. The event format most of the time for me will be LinkedIn Live. Well, most of the time for everybody will be a LinkedIn Live, but I can also make it an external event link if I want to do my workshop or video off LinkedIn. This is a great place to let people know you're doing something, because at the end of setting up an event like this, it will let you go through all these. It's not that complicated really to get that in there. But what it does, it gets you to post that you've got an event coming up. And you can have a thought leadership post that boosts this out if you want to pay a little extra to get it out there. No real need to do that, because I'll just give you a quick tip, right? There are lots of people on LinkedIn reading stuff, and very few people are actually posting stuff. It's the reason why, for some of you, you see my crap all over LinkedIn every single day, because there's not that many people posting stuff. So I've taken advantage of that and said, well, if I've got an event, I go in there. Now, the other thing you get to do, let's go into one of the events that I'm actually doing very shortly, which is a combined event with somebody else. This LinkedIn local networking event in Darwin that I'm doing on July 16. With this, I am able to go share and invite people to my event up to 1,000 per day. So I can just go locations. It's in Darwin, go Greater Darwin, show my results, and this will bring me a big list of all the people, and there's tons of them, well over 1,000, probably well over 5,000 these days, of people who are connected to me in my local area. So these are all people who are connections, not followers, connections, and I can invite each of them to this. So you don't have to make it that, you can just make it Australia wide if you want to and just show results from there, but you've got up to 1,000 of those per day. What happens when you do invite them all, it'll show up as invited. And then if you're looking to invite other people, like the next 1,000 people, when you bring this list up again, it's going to show you that this one, the ones I invited today are showing up as invited already, and you won't be able to select them a second time. So you'll always be getting a fresh lot of people. It's not the most graceful of systems, but it gets the network message out there. So you're able to share those out with people. Now, honestly, if you're doing anything business to business or consulting wise, there really is no other platform but LinkedIn at the moment. The others are just really just a poor second when it comes to presenting those. But if you're doing stuff like coaching, if you're doing stuff like products, actual physical products, say you're selling skincare stuff, right? Then places like LinkedIn are probably not as good for you, but it might be good on Facebook and Instagram for you to do stuff there. So which you can also do lives into as well. Well, I find that Facebook groups are also very good for doing this too. Facebook groups can be very helpful, but for me, it's all about LinkedIn events and my email list. I've been curating and building over the last 4 years, 13,500 people on an email list, and I send them out something every Saturday morning. And that's where I get a lot of my bookings for these things from. I do a lot of free webinars and workshops as a lead into other things that are paid down the track. Now, the free hooks were things like downloadable worksheets and early bird bonuses. One of my free hooks I get in there is that what I produce on just about all of my things these days is that I use AI to produce some kind of interactive report. So an interactive report that I'm doing today was this one. So I generated it using Google Gemini, and it produces something that I can post on my website in the form of code. That's a handout. It's all about what we are talking about in here, but it's a more in-deep, interactive way of looking through the different services, the different tools you can use to do your live webinars and your different workshops. So it gives you a bit of a checklist to go before you go live. You can look at the different stages. Here's the creation, be specific, be benefit oriented, be intriguing, all these. So what I'll be sending through to everybody is a link to this, so you can then go and follow up later with an interactive report. So those kind of things are little things that add that little bit extra that most people are not doing when it comes to workshops and webinars. It adds that little bit extra, which gives people a reason to deal with you after the fact, not just during the webinar itself. Look, engagement can be, if you've got a very long webinar, I've done some like 4-hour ones before, you want to be able to do some interactive stuff like, polls. You want to be able to do polls because, to be quite honest, 4 hours is a long, long time. And having live handout links. So for instance, I was doing that interactive report. I could do, if I was more planned ahead with this one, I could have provided a QR code that you can snap on your phones and go straight there and use that little interactive tool straight away. As it is though, tomorrow morning, I'll send you out an email that will have that attached to it if I don't get to it tonight, which I should do. So that's some of the things you can do that help you market, that people will get more out of you than what they'll usually get with others. With your delivery, keeping people engaged is all about asking great engaging questions. So if it's a live call with people interacting with you, this is a webinar that I'm doing, not a live call. There's a bit of a difference. A live call, for instance, all of you who are on here right now could talk with me, right? But this is a webinar, so it's a one-way conversation. So I could just as easily be just broadcasting this as a recording rather than doing it live in the office at, nearly 6 o'clock on a Monday night in Darwin. Otherwise, you can just pause for people to reply to chat messages as they're coming in. So if I was opening it up to some chats, we could be chatting right now and I could be answering those things. The next thing you could do is have quick activity breaks. So you get people to, if it's a longer one, so about an hour, I like to sort of give people a chance to do something interactive, whether it's giving feedback, doing an activity, an exercise, or just getting up to stretch and walk around for a break. Then have a clear call to action as part of your delivery. So my call to action tonight will be watch out for your email tomorrow morning, where you'll have a link through to my interactive guide that's free and completely without obligations to help you to get to that next level, or a free resource, which is exactly what I'm doing. And then a post-survey event link. I don't do a lot of these, except when I'm doing them as part of government programs. I will often have to run a post-event survey link. I don't run a lot of these now. Probably just lazy, to be honest. I'll be very authentic with that. I'm probably just too lazy to do them. And the way I look at it is I don't feel like I really need to do them that much, because I will be able to tell if people hate what I do, because no one will ever show up to my stuff. Finally, we're finishing on time. Didn't think we would there for a minute. Reach out to me, Dante Dotson James, darwininnovationhub.com.au. Probably the easiest way to find me is online. LinkedIn is particularly easy to find me, but I'm also reachable through Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, X, I don't know, smoke signals, sending up a dove, a pigeon messenger. Just try and get in touch with me, and that will help you. I'm more than happy to answer questions outside of this webinar if you've got them. So please do reach out. Particularly LinkedIn's a great place because I tend to be a bit more responsive over there. That's all I have for you tonight. A little bit of a guide. Tomorrow morning, you will have that in your email inbox, a little interactive guide that tells you some of the things we covered off tonight. Thank you so much. I'll be doing these as often as I can on a Monday evening, just to sort of get your week started. And hopefully these can become helpful tips that help you to get that little bit more done in your day without having to stretch yourself so hard. I've got a few great ones coming up this month too. If you want to check them out, darwininnovationhub.com.au. It's got a list of all the webinars I'm running. And one of them in particular is going to show you how I make those great little interactive guides that I've been using, because I just built software and I did it in 1 hour to basically run my clients. It's just pretty amazing. So look out for that one, darwininnovationhub.com.au. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon.